Hello and welcome. I had a little problem on getting on this evening, but here I am. I hope that you can see me here. I am on two platforms. I'm going to try to put this up a little bit, but welcome. I'm Anna. Welcome to Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and Podcast, where we come to you every Wednesday to inspire, to encourage, and to empower you to live a fulfilling and blessed lifestyle. I am an author, a educational consultant, a jewelry consultant, a health consultant, a certified jewelry consultant, and I'm also a cake instructor, certified cake instructor. So I bring to you a wealth of knowledge and experience to our conversation. So, in each one of my episodes, I try to dive into episodes that enrich your life, from educational and personal development, um, to wellness, and of course, the art and style of jewelry, because jewelry makes you feel so good. So, what I do is I provide workshops and things like that. This beginning of this year, I decided to do series, and so a lot of people know that I have been. I taught school. I'm a retired school teacher, but I taught school, early childhood education, plus other subjects as well. But while I was teaching school, I was granted the opportunity, and I'm going to say opportunity, I think that I was blessed uh, to become a certified cake instructor. And believe it or not, I did that for 20 years. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a brief 30 minutes of talking to you a little bit about how to be to do desserts like a pro. Okay. Um, I had a business. I still have my business. I'm not gonna say I had a business, but I can just say that my business slowed down um, during the COVID um, uh, season, and so therefore I came back with it in a different aspect. And so now what I'm going to do is I want to teach people because a lot of people, and I mean, I have had lots and lots of students who have gone on and they've just been uh, uh, successful. So uh, we're going to take a brief commercial, if I can do it, y'all. This thing. And then we are going to come back. And then I'm going to get into what I call bake and bloom, um, from, you know, from batter. Really, it's really from scratch to beautiful cakes, but I put down from batter to beautiful cakes. So that is basically what I am going to talk about this evening. It's going to be, so let me see if I can go to commercial. I'm telling you, I'm really having some craziness here today. So I'm gonna try to set up my other phone so that you will be also be able to see it as well. So, all right, let's take that commercial.
Here's why you need to tune in right now. With CTR Media Network, you can transform your knowledge into a fully produced TV show. Imagine your content streaming on platforms like Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV. reaching over 350 million households in 140 countries. We take care of everything, from managing your ready-to-go content to global distribution. And it's not just any content, it's edutainment, a perfect blend of education and entertainment that keeps viewers coming back for more. You'll join a vibrant community of thought leaders, podcasters, and educators, all sharing a passion for impactful content and global reach. Plus, with our app available on Google Play and the App Store, your show will be accessible to millions more. Ready to shine on the global stage? Let's get you started. Schedule a 15-minute call with us today and turn your idea into a TV sensation. Reply to this video by saying, "I want to learn more." Don't wait. Your audience is out there waiting.
Okay, we are back. So I want to say welcome to Bake and Bloom Cake Decorating from Scratch to Showcase. So I'm so excited, you all, that you're here for this journey, whether you're a home baker or wanting to wow your family or an aspiring cake entrepreneur ready to build your skills and confidence. In this first episode, we're going to be laying the foundation, the essential ingredients, tools, and simple techniques that set you up for baking success so that you'll be able to bake like a pro. Ooh. You'll learn how to mix and bake a cake that's not only delicious, but sturdy enough to decorate beautifully. So I want you to grab your aprons, your favorite mixing bowl, and let's get started on your cake adventure today. Now, I just want to say a little bit about cake decorating. I'm trying to do this. I never did get the other phone working, and I might get it working, but I got two here, but only one is working, and it's supposed. I want to have two. I got to work on that. So we're gonna see. And I hate to go out as well. So before I begin, I always tell people, that these are my notes, y'all. There's a lot of notes for a class. But anyway, on all of my other shows where I go live, I do start with a prayer. And so this evening, I am going to start just a short little prayer to start. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of creativity and the joy of sharing it with others. Bless our hands as we learn and create. Guide our hearts to patience and excellence. And let this time together be filled with laughter, learning, and sweet connections. Amen. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started here. And let me get to the real notes. But you know what? Sometimes when I was teaching, people would always ask me, some people would say, how do you get started? Where do you begin? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I began baking at the age of 8. Is when I began to bake. And so I'm seriously baking, but not decorative baking. So I am going to teach you how to decorate like a pro. And I'm just going to give you a little snippet of each one of my classes as we go through this series so that you can kind of see what to expect and let you see that you'll be able to do these things as well. I just want you to remember I got a little homework for you to do at the end, and I will tell you all about it. I'm trying to get all my stuff together that I had planned to say for you uh, this evening. So I want to make sure that I uh, get it all together. So let the fun begin. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about the ingredients and where you should start, and also with pans and things like that. So, what I do want to you to understand that cake decorating is just like anything else that you do. Practice makes perfect. And I do want you to understand also that I am going to be offering some classes. So if you're interested in those classes, you can contact me I'm going to try to get it up here for y'all. You can contact me at, oh my God, this is my email, info at Anna's Lifestyle LLC.com. So you're able to contact me there if you have any questions, or if you can let me know if you're interested in having attending a class. If you want to know how much the class is. Now, these are just 30-minute little snippets, but I want you to understand. I don't want you to think that your class is going to be like this, because now I'm just giving you a little bit what's going on in each one of the classes. And right now I'm doing uh course 1, which is basic cake decorating. And before you can do basic cake decorating, you have to know what tools that you need to use. Now, I'm going to come to you in the respect of teaching you, and I'm going to give you some classroom things that we're going to do that maybe after you do these things and learn them, you might venture on and do some other things. And I'll explain all of those things as we go on. So the first thing is, how do you bake a great cake? So in order for you to bake a great cake, you must have a great pan, or you must choose the right pan. Now, I will say that I um, was a Wilton. I don't know if I can even say that on there, but I was, and I still am, I guess, a Wilton cake instructor, certified cake instructor. And so some of the products that I will be showing you are some of the products that I use during my class, even though sometimes I do use other products. But I do want you to understand that the products and things that I am showing you, you can purchase them on Amazon. I have a store on Amazon. So if you're interested in taking the class, or if you are interested in just getting some of the tools and things that I show you as I go along, you can, and I'm going to let you know, I do get a little credit for it if you order from me, but you know it's there in my store. Okay. And so that is the store, and you can go to it if you see some things that you want. I wanted to put that out there before I ventured off and talk about my pans. So you always want to start with a great pan. And believe it or not, Now, I have not taught, they got rid of the educational components of where I was teaching because I taught for 20 years, cake decorating as well as teaching school, almost as long as I taught school, but I taught school for 34 years until it was time for me to retire. And my cake decorating was part time. But I told everyone that, do you see these pens? I have used these pens over and over. This is a good pen. Now, this pen is by Wilton. Now, they're not the only ones that make good pens. But like I said, I was a Wilton instructor, so I like their pens. And as you can see, they're very sturdy. You know, back in the day when you used the pen, it would get all rusty and everything. And remember when they had, I might have a few of those, but sometimes I do little demonstrations and stuff like that where they had the pen and it goes around and, around there, they get it up. But this is, and these come in many shapes, many sizes. I'm just showing you a few. I believe this is a 4-inch, might be a 2-inch cake. And then I know this is a 6-inch, and then this is a 8-inch pan. But they come hard shaped. They come character shaped. The thing about it is that you just want to get you a good pan. Now, we're going to take a little brief commercial, and then when I come back, I'm going to show you a few of my Wilton uh, baking tools that I use when I am baking some things. So let's go to that commercial. Because I got both phones on, even though that other phone, I cannot get the thing up, and I was just wondering if I put it on Facebook, what would happen. But anyway, I got to experiment with this a little bit. So it's great that I am just showing tools and things like that this evening. So I want to break for a commercial, and then we are going to come back and we are going to talk about some baking, Wilton baking tools. Oh my goodness, the mailman came. I hope my sweet little thing cookies in here. Yeah, I just hope it's in here. Let me see. Let me open this up. That's it. That's it. Sweet little thing cookies. That's sweet little thing cookies. Oh, I'ma have me a ball now. Let me just get this right here. Little thing cookies. That's sweet little thing cookies. Oh yeah. I finally got my cookies. The sweet little thing cookies. Oh yeah. I'ma have fun. This thing is kind of big though. Man, he got a lot of cookies. Oh yeah, it's the best thing ever. I'm gonna tell you, I got my cookies, and I'm gonna eat these cookies, and ain't nobody gonna stop me. Wait, what? Marie, what you doing, man? You can't have those cookies right now. I'm sorry, we about to eat dinner. Once we finish dinner, then you can have those cookies. Go ahead, put them up. Go ahead, put them up. Are you serious, bro? I got sweetest thing cookies, and now I gotta wait for dinner? Man, can I at least look at the cookies? That ain't you. Oh my goodness, I wait all this time now. I gotta do all this. Bye. Bye. Oh yeah. I got my hands on some sweetest thing cookies. But I can't eat them right now because Brad talking about I gotta wait to dinner. Okay, I'm gonna do that. But once I finish that, it's gonna be on y'all. Wait a minute. Brad talking about cooking jumbo. All this is a can of salmon and some frozen biscuits. Dad, where are you? You set me up, homie. You had me about to eat a can of salmon and some frozen biscuit. I'm not down with it. I want my sweetless thing cooking. My sweetless thing cooking. All right, we are back. I'm Anna. I am the host of Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and Podcast, where we inspire, we encourage, and we empower you to feel a fulfilling, blessed lifestyle. We are talking this evening about the fundamentals of baking and how you get off to a good start. So before we broke for commercial, I showed you the first thing is how to bake a great cake is you must choose the right pan. You've got to determine what size that pan is. Um, you really need a pan with a light finish so that it would bake with a higher color crust because you want that crust to be okay. And I didn't tell you about, I did tell you that I use the Wilton's pans, but they're aluminum um, pans and they bake evenly and it won't warp or rust. So that's why you see my pans are not warped or rust like it was a long time ago. And you might go to one of your grandparents' house and see some of the old fashioned pans and things that they used to do. All right, so now I want to talk to you about some baking tools, and I will put it back on the screen where you can get these tools that I use. You can get them on Amazon. I do have an Amazon store, and I do want to let you know that it is. I will make a little profit off of this, off of these items, but I mean, you can get the items anywhere, but I'm just letting you know that they're there, and if you could go, you can get them readily. Okay. I don't know if they're going to be any cheaper or anything like that. But the first thing is two things that I use in my pans. The first one is this one, and it's called Bake Easy. It is a spray. And you might think it might be like the Pam when you go to the store and you put the Pam in your skillet and everything like that. This one here is called Bake Easy, and you do the same thing, but this has a flour effect on it. And you just spray it, and then that way you don't have, because you know in the olden days what they did was they would put, and then this one here is more like the olden days, you know, where they would put the butter or the lard around there, and then they would do it with, you know, with the flour. So this one here, this is not even open, but this one here you would squeeze, and then you would take a paper towel or a spatula. Now these are great here. So you would take a let me hold this right here because it wants to move on me. So you would take this spatula, you would put this in like this, and then you would take the spatula and go all the way around and get in all the little crevices and so forth and things like that. So just wanted to point those tools out. Now, once you have your cake pan oiled or greased or floured or however, um, sometimes, and you know, when I'm doing this, I want to talk about the pros and cons because you're not gonna have a perfect cake every time, y'all. I'm gonna tell you that you're just not gonna have it every time. What you need to do, what you're learning to do, is to correct the mistakes that you make. Right now, you just don't know how to correct those mistakes. And as you can see down at the bottom, I do have the Amazon store down there. So in case you want to pick up some of these items. But right now, you just don't know. So that's what we're learning how to do is to correct our mistakes because you're going to make mistakes. And I'm going to start off at the very beginning by telling everyone, don't tell people your mistakes. They don't see them. They don't see your mistakes. Only you know your mistakes. Maybe a cake person who decorates and stuff might know the mistake, but very seldom does anyone notice that thing. But as you're baking, sometimes you get cakes that rise up and you have like a little dome. And then you have some cakes that go, scoop under and you got a little valley, you know what I'm saying? So I need to let you know the causes of this. So when you get that little valley, the temperature in your oven is off. So I always suggest you buy an oven temperature because you don't know when your oven is off. But you can put that temperature, that gauge in there, and it will give you an idea. So you'll know whether or not you might need just, that might be the problem why your cakes or your pies and all of those things are not coming out because your oven is off. And they do get off, y'all. They do get off. So I'm just telling you, that's one of the things that you want to look into. Now, once we've had our pan and we got it all greased, and I told you what happens with the valleys. But then there's another thing where you get like a mountain. That mountain that comes up. The mountain, that mound. And you be wondering, oh, what? And I'm going to tell you what's happening with that one is the outside of your cake is baking faster than the middle of your cake. And so it causes it to rise in the middle. So what you need to do is, I use this, and I have some, I was so glad I found this one, because it was not as old as the others. I don't even know if I've even used this. You can see that I really, I really haven't, because I have enough, and they come in different colors, you all. But this is what we call a bake even strip. And all it is that now the one I've been using has a pin on it. I put a pin in it. But this one has a little strip on it. And like I said, all of these things you can get at my store at Amazon. I don't even think this is all that expensive. But what you do is you first you're gonna soak it with water. You can just gonna put out just soak it with water. And you want it to stay soaked, but you don't want it dripping wet, okay? And then you just want to take a little bit out. And then you're gonna wrap it around this pan, like so. Can you see? Now, the reason I'm showing you this one, because this one has, where is it? Right here. I gotta move it up. This one has a little, I'll move it up here. Like I said, the one that I normally use all the time has I put a pen in, a quilting pen, y'all. I use quilting pens for quite a bit of things. So I'm just moving this down, because this one here has a little ribbon there, and you can just slip this under like so. I believe it goes like this too. I'm not really sure, y'all. Because like I said, this is not the one that I normally. This is the more modern one, okay? Oh Lord, because they don't give out, but mine looks a little worn, and I just didn't want to get on the live And with one that I had been, I wanted a fresh one for y'all, for the people to see. So there you go. So I have it on there, and then this other one would be over here with over here. I'm gonna put this around. So this is saturated, and then you're gonna put this in the oven. This is what you're gonna put in the oven, and uh, I'm gonna talk a little bit about that now as well. But we're gonna break for a commercial, and then I'm gonna come back and talk to you about how you prepare your cake pans, how you mix your batter, how you fill your cake pans, and testing cake for uh, doneness and removing the cake. So let's take that brief um, commercial, and we'll be right back.
60R Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? 60R Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with 60R Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to 60rmedianetwork.com.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm the host of Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and Podcast, where we inspire, we encourage, and we empower you to live a healthier lifestyle. And so today we are talking about, this is the first in the series on learning how to bake like a pro and where do you start. And so I just talked a little bit about the different types of tools and things that you would use. So now I want to tell you a little bit about how you would prepare uh, your pan. So I talked to you about these two things. It doesn't matter which one you use. In reality, some of these I use, sometimes I use, but more often I like this one. Um, right here is 0 calories for this one, whereas this one has 120 calories. So you can see that this one is rich. So that's one of the main reasons why I use this one. This one doesn't add any calories or anything to my cake, but I do use this one as well on different occasions, especially if it's a one of those blunt like pans. But that's your choice. You have to decide which one you want to use when you want to use it. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the cake release or the bake easy and you're going to spread into your pan, coating, and then you're going to take your pastry brush, which I just showed you. You're going to take this and you're going to spread in your pan. And then you're going to take your pastry brush, like I told you, and you're going to swish it around and make sure you get in all those corners and bring it all up on the sides of the pan as well. Okay. And I told you about the bake even strips. Okay, and that's it. So now I want to tell you a little bit about mixing your batter. Now, as a new student or a new person that is starting out, or, well, if you just want to get practice, I always tell my students to start with a cake mix. Now, I'm partial to the cake mixes that I use. I use all of them, but I really and truly like Duncan Hines. And so that is the one that I recommend. But I do use Betty Crocker and I do use Pillsbury. But that one has a good consistency and it's great for you learning how to decorate and practice on a cake. So first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna preheat your oven. And I'm gonna tell you, you need to preheat that oven for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? Whether you bake from a recipe or a box mix, you want to measure all your ingredients raw and lay them out. Seriously. A lot of people make their mistakes because they do not lay those ingredients out and they get distracted and they come back and they cannot remember whether or not they have put that ingredient there. But if they have it all laid out and everything were, measured out, then they'll know because that piece of measurement or measuring tool that you're using, it will be empty. Okay. So just a word of wisdom. And you want to measure your liquid ingredients at eye level in standard liquid measuring cups. Now, some of you might not even know that there's different types of measuring cups. And I will probably be doing a demo on that because you cannot use the same measuring cup. They are different. There's measuring cups for dry ingredients, measuring cups for wet ingredients. So I usually, when I get into talking about the measurements and stuff, I might do a little demo or a little thing or talk a little bit about the different types of measuring cups and things uh, uh, that we have because we have leaders. I mean, it's just you are truly overwhelmed when you learn about all of those different things that uh, we have. Now, this is something else that people make a mistake in doing. It says a cup of flour, and they might put a cup of flour, but there's a mound on top of that cup of flour. You don't want that mound to be there. You want to level that mound out. So all your dry ingredients, if it calls for a cup, you want to use the measuring cup for dry ingredients and you want to level it off so you don't want more than a cup. Okay. And then you want to scrape the sides and the bottom of the bowl for even blending. Okay. Some people don't do that. They put it in there, but you got to do these are just things I'm trying to help you. Now, once you have all of that done, whether you're doing a regular cake or a cake mix, then you're going to take that batter and you're going to put it in your pan. And you want it 3/4 or 2/3. I'm going to say 2/3 of it filled there. Okay. Well, 2/3, half full, a little over half. So I always say 2/3. And then you want to bake it immediately after mixing as near to the center and then put it in the oven as near to the center as possible. You want to allow at least 1 inch between your pans if you're using more than one pan. Uh, okay. And avoid opening the oven door during the first 20 minutes of baking. That's another one that people do. They open that door, but just leave it in there. It'll be all right for 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, you can, check it. If you're worried about it, set a timer. Set a timer for it. You know what I'm saying? Now, you're going to check your cake for doneness. Now, there's several ways that you can do that. You can take a knife. A lot of people take a knife. I did a knife until I got this little thing, and it's just you stick it down into the center of the cake. Any of it, a cupcake, anything, you stick it down in the center. And then when you pull it out, if it has any type of moisture or anything like that, you know that it's not done. But if it comes out clean, your cake or cupcakes or whatever is clean. And it's the same way that you use a knife and stuck it down if it comes out clean. But this just leaves a little hole where it's at like knife leaves a bigger hole. So, and you can also use a toothpick, y'all. Okay, don't forget about your famous toothpicks to think about that. And then you want to remove your cake from the oven, and you want to cool it for at least 10 minutes in the pan. In the pan. So I use racks. So these are racks. And I believe you can get these racks, it's all kind of racks out there, yeah. But I like these racks because I don't know if you can get them from Amazon or wherever, but they stack. So I can put this one here, and then I got another one here that also, see if I can move this without messing with my camera. So I like this because what happens is, all right, there we go. So I don't know. Let me put my camera up a little bit so you can see. These here stack. And so I like that because that way I can put one cake layer here and the other cake up there. But if you don't have those that stack, you want to put your cake pan on a rack and let it just cool for 10 minutes. Now, once it has cooled for 10 minutes, then you can take this and go over like this and just turn it over. Go over like this and just turn it out. Now, some people, let me move this. I got too many racks up here. But some people use parchment paper because sometimes the wire or the bars don't never take it out. So they do have parchment paper. You can purchase parchment paper, but you can purchase parchment paper at the grocery store. But they do have it on Amazon, on my Amazon store, which I do have listed down there at the bottom. If you're interested in any of these things that I have shown you. So you're going to remove the cake from the pan and you're going to place it on parchment paper. So when I tell you if you put the parchment paper there, I'll do that and remove the pan. It's already on the parchment paper. So, just a little tip. Okay, just like I said, that the paper prevents the breaking of the top of the cake when you do all of that. So we're going to take another brief commercial, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to give you a brief summary and tell you what's going to happen next week. I'm back. I'm Anna. I am the host of Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and Podcast, where we inspire, we encourage, and we empower you to live a blessed and fulfilling lifestyle. So I am on here to give you just a little brief um, summary. I'm gonna give you some homework. Yeah, you're not even gonna believe it. So that's what I'm looking for. My little homework sheet here. Uh, because I will be here next Wednesday, and next Wednesday we are going to. Let me make sure I got it right. Yeah, we are going to talk about icing ingredients, and I'm going to make icing for y'all. Because for your homework, this is what I want you to do. I want you to snap a quick photo of your cake this week. So you're going to make a cake. I don't care what kind of cake it is. It might be a cupcake. It might be this 4-inch cake. It might be a 6-inch cake. Whether it's still, and you can take it whether it's still in the pan or not. All right. It could be cooling on the rack or frosted and fabulous. I just want you to snap a quick photo of your cake for this week. And I know you're going to make a cake because it's the 4th of July. So what I want you to do is to share it to our group. And I formed a group. And the name of the group is Bloom and Bake. And you can go to Facebook and look for Bloom and Bake. But it also, you can hashtag Bake and Bloom. So we can all cheer you on. So you have 2 ways that you can do that. You can go to Bake and Bloom, which is the group, or you can do hashtag Bake and Bloom. Let me go back. 2 ways you can do that. You can go to our group, Bloom and Bake, or you can do hashtag Bake and Bloom. I want you also to remember, you all, that this is a safe place to learn and to grow. Every cake is progress, and we're all here to support each other. Remember that. I really can't wait to see you all's creations, and that's the truth. So make sure that you post them for me. They're just for us. Remember that. And so, in closing, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today for episode 1. Next time, we're taking your cakes to the next level by learning how to level, tort, and stack like a pro. So every slice is picture perfect and ready to impress. Don't forget to bake your cake this week and bring it to class. I can't wait to see your progress. Until then, keep baking and blooming. And I always leave you with my 3 L's when I close my show on any one of them that I'm doing. I just want to tell you before I leave to remind you of my Amazon store where you can go there and you can get any of these tools that I talked about this evening. And I will be showcasing all of these items next week. So if you want to, before I close, if you want to participate in making the icing next week, this is what I call classroom icing. You're going to need white vegetable shortening. You're going to need flavors. This is a clear butter flavor. This is a clear almond flavor, and I also have a clear vanilla flavor. Now these are specifically for cake decor. I like them clear. These here clear, and I tell you why, because the others sometimes they will color because they have a little color pigmentation in. They will color your cake, whereas these do not color your cake. Also, the almonds. Some people are allergic to almonds, the nuts, and so you have to be very, very careful and mindful of that when you're baking. And then this is an almond extract that has no allergies, no anything like that. So, because some people are gluten free or they can't have nuts, okay, but this one here, they can have nuts. We are also going to talk about meringue powder. I'm just showing you these things in case you want to make the icing with me next week when I make it, because that's what our demo will be, and I will be actually in the kitchen making this icing for you. Now, because it's important, your icing is very important in order for you to have a perfect cake. And most people do not realize that there are three types of icing. There's a thin, a medium, and a stiff. So we're going to talk about that. Now, this is meringue powder, and it is an egg substitute because, you might not realize this, but I want to tell you all these things, that there are people who are allergic to eggs. And so this is what we use. It is an egg white. It is powdered, and we can use it in place of eggs for those people who are allergic to eggs. And when you're baking, you need to, well, if you're baking just for your family, you don't usually ask them what they're allergic to. But if you're in business, you got to find out if they have any allergies or anything like that before you start uh, baking. Now, you can make this icing that we're gonna do next week with either milk or water. I always use water, and I tell you why, because if you use milk, it's a dairy product and it has to be refrigerated. However, remember what I told you, this is a classroom icing. So therefore, if I use water, I do not have to refrigerate it. And I can use it over and over again, as you can see when I start doing the demonstrations. The other thing that I do use is, I didn't bring it over here, but I do use Domino's pure cane sugar. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Domino's, but it has to be pure cane sugar. And you have to be very careful of that, because there are some sugars on the counter that do not say pure cane sugar. And I know that Domino's said, and I think it's C&H or G&H also has pure cane sugar. So you want to make sure that that is on the label, or that you're purchasing uh, as well. So next week, I also, even though I'm going to make icing, I'm going to also show you icings that you can purchase as well. So I'm going to leave you this evening. I always leave with my 3 L's. And so that is to live your life to the most. I think I got one more thing. Okay. I want you to live your life to the most. I want you to laugh, y'all. You got to find some place in your life to laugh, because laughter is good for the soul. And then the next thing that I want you to do is love. Remember, self-love is the most important love. I forgot one thing to tell you all, and that is coloring. So we're going to color our icing next week. And so there's 2 types of coloring. That this is a liquid color that's dot, and then this is more like a gel-like coloring. And I want to talk about these colorings next week as well, as opposed to these, because most of you are familiar with these. So stay tuned and have a blessed rest of your evening. And see you next week. Hold on. Having some technical difficulty here. Mm.
Sweet blessing.